My name is Jason Hal, and I'm the Executive Director of Recovery People. In celebration of Recovery Month, Recovery People annually recognizes individuals who've made significant contributions towards supporting recovery from substance use and related mental health challenges. Kathy Hammond is the recipient of Recovery People's 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award. Originally from El Paso, Kathy has lived in Austin since 1974 and has been in long-term recovery since 1976. She and her husband, Steve, have been married for 44 years and have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. She's defined by her own recovery, which has been her pathway to health and spiritual growth. She feels most at ease when she's working with recovering individuals and their families, sharing her story and being of service to others in her places of work, church, and with family and friends. Kathy advocates that recovery is not only possible, but it's most likely when individuals establish and maintain their participation in a recovery community, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, SMART, Recovery Dharma, or other mutual aid societies, as well as engage in mindfulness practices, education, and coping skills. As a part of her personal recovery, Kathy continues to be deeply involved with 12-step fellowships and has founded mutual help groups for persons with substance use issues and affected family members. Her passion for helping others led her to become a licensed professional counselor, supervisor, and eventually a clinical director. Kathy began her professional career as a counselor for Williamson County Council on Alcohol and Drugs, now known as LifeSteps. Here she worked with local school districts to establish prevention and education programs from kindergarten to 12th grade. She also worked with the local justice system to provide services to individuals with DWI and drug offender programs, and she worked with Judge Wright and others through LifeSteps to establish the county's DWI court. After graduating from Episcopal Seminary of the Southwest with a master's in counseling and spiritual studies and becoming a licensed professional counselor, Kathy joined the staff at Northwest Counseling and Wellness Center, founded by John Harvey, who's the executive director and her mentor. She was certified as a substance abuse professional and clinical director for Northwest Counseling Wellness Center, where she practiced for more than 15 years, facilitating all phases of their treatment process. Moreover, she supervised over 60 university students as they interned to become licensed professional counselors. She's remembered by her students, coworkers, and friends for her unusual and quirky way of describing people, places, and ideas, as well as for her warm and fresh sense of humor. Kathy, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jason, and thank you all, particularly the persons who nominated me for this. Now, I'll tell you my reaction when I heard from you, Jason, was, are you sure? Are you sure it's me? Is it really me? And then I thought, I remember once having an invitation to become some kind of a important woman in Austin, but I was supposed to pay $500 or something. So I thought, I hope this isn't like, anyway, thank you very much, you all. You know, one of the things that I'm impressed with is how sobering it is to hear that, you know, that you've made a difference like this. And it reminds me that, well, it reminds me that all of us, but especially people that are in recovery, have such a big responsibility. It's a privilege and it's a responsibility, but also a privilege to be able to share, what recovery can look like, what long-term recovery can look like. And I've had a little while, not that long, but a little while to reflect on, what this award really means, and it feels like, really, it feels like I'm being rewarded for just being myself. And I know that's, it's not always easy for people to be able to be themselves in their work, at their church, with their friends. We sometimes feel like we have to have different identities and not tell too much. And I don't have a great, I guess I don't have the greatest filter in the world. And so I've really felt like I've been invited actually to just show up as Kathy Hammond, and I'm really I know that I'm really lucky because a lot of people can't do that. Anyway, so thank you for the award. I do accept the award. I can't wait to see my name engraved on something. So thank you very much.
At this time, if you would, like to say something to Kathy, you're welcome to turn your camera on and unmute yourself.
There's so many things that to be said about you. It's hard to know where to focus, but that statement that you just made about being yourself and no filter made me think of what Stephen Hayes says about being comfortable in your own skin. And I recently took a training and heard him say that the root of the word comfort is with strength, comfort. And that what people are really looking for is to be comfortable in their own skin. And in order to do that, you have to bring all of yourself. You can't cut off parts or deny parts or hide them. Real strength is bringing in all of yourself. And you do that in an exemplary manner and fun as heck too. So thank you, Kathy, for all you bring.
Kathy is my mentor. And, she's taught me a lot about, more traditional recovery, ruts, 12 steps into the program, and it's really nourished that. And I've appreciated that so much. And I just, Kathy's got such a great spirit about her. So she's got kind of a contagion about that people around her just feel some sense of joy and get her humor. And she's got such a healing persona. So I feel really grateful to have crossed paths with Kathy. I don't know, probably 20 years ago before she came on board, but it was meant to be in the stars and all that kind of thing. And so I can't think of a person more appropriate for this award. Congratulations, and we miss you a lot around here.
I just felt like I had to say something. I received the Zoom link just a few days ago. I heard about your achievement, and I think it's so amazing. So I just wanted to see your face. I wanted you to see mine. I am one of the baby interns that Kathy nurtured years ago. And, that piece about you being yourself, I think you helped me be myself and bring my authentic self to my clients. And you helped me have the courage to help people in recovery walk, on their path. And I'm so grateful for that, because without growing up by your help and John's help at Northwest, I wouldn't be able to do that with such an open heart. And, I credit you all, and you, Kathy, my mentor, for the part you played in my developments.
I'm Kathy's son, and I'm at work right now, and there's probably a lot of background noise. But as a representative of the family, I suppose I just wanted to say that I know I love you, and everybody in our family loves you, and we've been so appreciative of your experience, and it's helped us very intimately in our own struggles. And anyways, just thank you guys for taking care of my mom too, and for as we watch her kind of walk into this next chapter of retirement. It's really a joy to see people that share the same amount of love for my mom. So thank you all very much.
Kathy has helped me learn how to be comfortable in my own skin. She's my supervisor, and I just feel so grateful for everything. It's like hard to put into words, but just so proud that you were my supervisor, and really helped me feel confident and get on a roll, and just so grateful for you and the person that you are.
My name is Alejandra, and Kathy is my sponsor. And I just wanted to say thank you, Kathy. I'm so proud to be your sponsee. Thank you for everything you've helped me with. And I feel so grateful and blessed that you're in my life. And John Michael's so lucky to have you as a mom. And you've helped so many people. And you're carrying an example of the big book. And I love you. Just want to say that.
I'm always just filled with joy when I see you. And, you just never know when you reach out to someone in the way that you reached out to me, what you make possible. And you have just made such, not that I'm such a wonderful thing, but extending your hand in the way that you did. I mean, it changed my life. It changed my life. And I love you. I can't tell you how much I love you and how much you deserve this award. And you know how I feel. It's rare that I can't express it, but for some reason I can't express it today. I'm just overcome.
It's really, really moving today. As John Michael said, to see the love that people hold for you, babe. And having been on the other side, and all those times we were meeting in the parking lot and exchanging kids and helping you get through your 4-year master's and wondering how we were going to pay those tuition bills and all the crazy parts of that. I always remember you coming home from classes crying, and I would say, "What's wrong?" And it was joyful. It was because you really knew you were called to do this work. And I want to share that because that was always powerful for me, that you knew when you said yes to that you in yourself that opened doors for thousands of others. And, our family, like John Michael said, has been the benefactor of your grace and goodness and your quirkiness and your dark sense of humor and all the things that everybody's already said, that you open people up. You give them the freedom to be themselves. And you've done that in my life. And we're proud and grateful for all you've done. And what I know you're going to continue to do. You're not done yet. You're just doing it in a different way. So anyway, I love you so much.
Kathy, you obviously have made a huge impact on so many people's lives. We've heard it in your bio. So many people have come today to support you and share their experience and their love for you around this. I'd like to pick your brain a little bit and try to see if we can capture some wisdom. Some individuals in early recovery may be listening to this. Maybe they are just thinking about starting the journey. Maybe they just started the journey. What advice would you have for someone in early recovery?
Probably people here have heard this story a bunch of times, but I always, when I think of people in new recovery, when I meet somebody and I get not just meet them, but get a chance to really talk to them, I always want to tell the story about penguins. And I don't know where the penguins are, I don't know where they're located exactly, but I have read, and this is really true, that they travel in huddles. It's cold as hell where they are. And so they travel like in a big huddle. And they take turns being on the outside and the inside, so everybody can keep warm and nobody freezes. And so the moral of that story is that if one of them has like a head like any of us who are in recovery and thinks they're going to do it their way, they march off in a direction away from the huddle. And what happens a lot of times is they can't make it alone. And I know one of the things that it sounds a little cliche, but that we think of the difference between illness and wellness, and illness always starts with I and wellness is we. And I like to tell people that because when I heard that the first time, I thought, oh, that's really cool. I myself am not going to do as good a job as I can with we. And I think that one of the most important things, and sometimes people really need help with this, of course, to find a place. Nanette always says, find your tribe, and that the tribe in recovery. And it could be in AA, it could be someplace else. It could be in Smart Recovery. We don't have the corner on the market or whatever that expression is with recovery in the program of AA, but find a place and show up at that place over and over so that you become sort of like part of the furniture there, make coffee. I don't know, we used to empty ashtrays, but can't do that anymore. And just, keep showing up at the same place, because people will miss you when you're gone. People will, call you out if you said you were going to do something and you don't do it. And it's really good and healthy for a person that's been in addiction for a while to have people notice you and tell you that when you say yes, you stand by your word. And it's like the first time for a lot of us that it's like it's growing up in public, really. And so that's what I encourage people to do, get yourself in the middle. If you can't get yourself quite in the middle, then stay as close as possible to the center and get phone numbers. And, we say a lot of times in, maybe just in general, but particularly in recovery, you hear the phrase, a day at a time, but I know that's really the truth, and it's really the truth for all of us anytime, that we only have this one day. But I say, when you step into recovery, plan for it to be from now on. Just plan for it to be from now on, because I promise you act different. If you're thinking it's just this day, you act different than if you're planning for it to be your life.
Yeah, that resonates so much with me. In the recovery movement, we're starting to also think of affected family members, and as individuals in addiction, we definitely impact our family members and the family system. And so, do you have any advice for family members of someone who is just entering in recovery?
Yeah. I was a family member of a couple of people that started out in recovery that a couple of them didn't stay in recovery. A couple of them passed away from this disease, sister and brother. And then I have one brother that did stay in recovery. And I don't remember, I remember like how we were involved, how he involved us in his recovery was one day he asked me, Kath, do you want to come with me to an AA meeting? And I said, I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to, but I was afraid if I didn't go with him, I was afraid that he'd get drunk or something. My mother and I were visiting him out in California. And so I went to a meeting. And at that meeting, I heard somebody say, how many people here have never been to an AA meeting? And I raised my hand, and I was only 23 or 24. And he said, I see 5 people who are here at this meeting, new, never been here before. And all I can say to you is 2 of you are probably going to die drunk. And I thought, of course, I thought he was talking to me. How dare him? Anyway, that's how I got involved as a family member. And like you said, it's been in the last 10, 15 years that we're really incorporating families in treatment and stuff. And so I think that I would say to family members, do what your recovering person is doing. Find yourself a group. Find yourself a group of like-minded people where you can share not only your woes, with your loved one, but your recovery too, and their success or not. But you be with a group of people that are trying to do the same thing as you do. That's the best way, I think, to support somebody in early recovery. And I heard a podcast not too long ago, and it was like Brene Brown talking to Glennon Doyle. And I don't remember which one of them came up with this phrase of, you can't save your children, but you can model for them how to save yourself, and I just think, God, that's so valuable. Like if I show my children, I have shown my children that I'm taking care of myself. However that looks, and sometimes it may have looked selfish to them, but I think that all 3 of them know that they're responsible for their own, self-care, and that me and Steve can't do it for them. I'm sure they got really tired of hearing about recovery and having crazy people in our home. Thank you, kids. So that's it. That's what I would recommend to families.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. From there, thinking about kind of maybe the next part of the journey, the recovery journey, as an individual starts accumulating more lived experience in recovery and into longer recovery. Do you have any suggestions or any guidance for them?
I can say, I guess this is one of the places where I need to speak from my own experience, really. I don't know what the statistics are. I don't know how many people get into recovery and stay involved with others in recovery. But I know for me, it's always been important for me to know that I don't graduate. I don't graduate from this. It's a lifetime thing, and recovery is it is a way of life for me. When you said that part about, I don't know if I wrote it or somebody else said something like that, I'm defined by my recovery. That's what I have, that's what I've got. I was thinking about, there's probably a story in some literature about somebody that gets a new limb, like they've lost their limb and now they have a new one. And that's what I feel like recovery is for me. It's like I lost a limb, I got a limb, and I will never be able to live the same way without that limb. So I just never have, thank goodness I have never gotten the idea that I can just move on. I've moved into bigger things sometimes, and incorporated other things into my recovery, but I've never left going to meetings. And so it's now 40, almost 45 years. And some people probably feel sorry for me that I still go to meetings, but I need to, and I want to. And I think that there's just nothing like being with people that are on the same path. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but you're never alone, ever alone again. I don't know, there's very many places that you can say that. Also, one of the things that I think happens to people, I hope it happens to a lot of people in recovery, is that you find yourself in the strangest situations, just letting it roll off your tongue, that you're a person in recovery, and you never know who you're going to help. You just never know who you're going to help. If you can be a little bit intuitive, maybe a little bit more of a filter than I've had, but to be willing to share, your experience, strength, and hope with somebody.
Do you think that's true for family members who've been in recovery for a while? You described, personal recovery as just this ongoing journey. There's not a destination. It's you live recovery, and if you are intuitive or open yourself up to it, you can be of service to others. Do you think that's true for affected family members as well?
I do, but I also know that with this, the disease of addiction comes so much shame. I mean, for those of us in recovery, for sure, but for our family members, because they, like, if they're our parents, then maybe they did something wrong, or if they're a sibling, then maybe they should have heard our cry for help or whatever. And so I know that when family members join together and they say, I'm not alone, and it's not because I screwed up. It's like, actually, it's all an invitation to this way of life that you wouldn't have, if your brother, sister, kid hadn't gotten into some kind of difficulty with addiction.
Yeah, I like that. Thinking of it as an invitation or as an opportunity. I think that's real healthy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, one of the things that we highlighted in your bio, and several of the people that joined us today were individuals that you supervise. So, thinking about if there's individuals who are interested in working in this field, in the helping field, whether that be as a peer specialist or licensed an LCDC, licensed chemical dependency counselor, or any of the other helping professions, what advice would you have for them?
I know, like, there's been I've seen a lot of people, they get sober, and then the next thing, they want to become a counselor. And that it took a while for that to happen to me, wasn't sure, but I had a lot of time in quiet, and I really felt guided to do this. And so that's the first thing I would say is, investigate that, talk about it with people. It's not just a whim, it's not just like, okay, I'm going to go save the world. I was lucky enough to get to work in a place that, our primary purpose, one of our primary purposes at Northwest Counseling was to help people find their center, to help them through different ways, if it's, meditation, yoga, qigong, and, those various ways of getting in tune with yourself, that first and foremost. And then, lots of other things like, learning about the diseases of addiction and coping skills and how to communicate and, communicate with assurance that, somebody wasn't gonna, upset you too much or something, I guess. Teaching them life skills, that was, I'm saying that because that was the priority at the place that I worked. And it was really important for me because I had a conflict about getting paid to work with people in recovery, taking them through the steps. I mean, I had a conflict with getting paid to do that because it was free for me, right? Everybody doesn't have to deal with that conflict. Everybody doesn't have to, that's not necessarily a conflict for other people. But if it is, then find yourself a place to be where you can let your recovery, eke into, what you're doing instead of just, taking people through steps 1 through 12. It's important. It's been important for me. And if I'm talking to somebody that's new in recovery and they want to become an LCDC or an LPC, then I want to emphasize to them that that recovery, what we learn in recovery is an avocation, not our profession. And I want to go into my workplace as a person who knows their stuff. I went to graduate school. I learned all the stuff. And I know that, but my heart and my foundation and hopefully what people breathe from me is my recovery. I know that when I went to graduate school they made us write, you were supposed to write an essay, first of all, to even get an interview. And mine was about my recovery, and especially the loss that I experienced in my family. And I feel like that's how I got in. I probably didn't have the best grades in the whole world, but that's how I got in. And I'm thinking it was with the expectation that that's who I would become, somebody that could share that. So I think that makes sense about advice to others who are trying to come into the profession.
Oh, it totally makes sense. You were really talking about role clarity and the ethics of, how do we reconcile being a person in recovery, using that to help others, but also be wearing these other hats, these professional hats as well. So I think that was spot on. Yeah.
It's really hard for some people to be the same person in different settings. I don't know why that is. I don't know. The world kind of does that to us. Like, don't tell too much, and you don't have to tell everything you know. And I've had to have my hand slapped a couple of times, for telling too much. But I feel like, when you get this chance for a second life, we don't need to hold anything back. We just need to grow up a little bit and learn where the appropriate places are to do so. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't think of a better note to wrap how we get any better than that. That was very well said. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, and congratulations. You're very deserving of the 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for everybody that showed up today. I really, really will never forget it.